The following program contains reenactments. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm Sheriff Charlie Wells. I've seen a lot and I've done a lot in law enforcement. I've seen dedicated officers put their lives on the line. Because of their selfless efforts, criminals are captured, cases are solved, and justice is served. I admire their courage, their dedication to duty, and their unwavering sacrifice. These are the stories of men and women who've earned the badge of honor.
Oh boy, what a nice dog.
It's really amazing the bond between a person and their dog. And I love dogs. And that bond is especially true between a canine officer and their partner. That's what attracted me about this story. I review a lot of cases, go through a lot of case files, but this case jumped at me. Deputy Matt Williams and Diogi, his canine partner, and what they did for Polk County, what they do every day in carrying out their duties is immeasurable.
We have about 600,000 people that live here. The county's 2,000 square miles. This is a safe community. It is a wonderful community with 550 lakes. You can see we can still have a little taste of Mayberry.
And that's exactly why Deputy Matt Williams wanted to settle down there. He loved living in the country. He bought a house there. He and his wife, young, love, everything was great.
Our first date was on August 25th in 1984, and we got married on August 25th of 1985. There wasn't a day for the rest of the year that we didn't see each other. He was wonderful. He did all the dad stuff. Went outside and played with them. Couldn't wait till they were old enough to walk and go fishing. He was what you call a jack of all trades and master of none kind of thing, but had lots of projects going all the time. Always had something to do.
This guy was funny. He was a good country boy. He loved to fish. He loved to hunt. He loved the outdoors. We just struck it. I mean, it was just, we always were together as friends and had just everything in common. His honesty, his hard work, he's a family man.
I mean, he was a hero to us all. He was the comedian. He liked to think he was a singer.
She was good, you know what I mean?
He was always giving of himself to better other people. If we could have a society of Matts, we'd have a lot of laughs and we'd have a lot of people being helped, because he really, I think that was what his life was. It was never about Matt. It was about, he had his moments. If he was watching Star Trek, you left him alone.
I was worried at first and started talking about when I go to work at Sheriff's Department. I was like, no. And then it just became natural, normal. There's a possibility that he wouldn't come home. It just was a normal job. He was in different departments, but his goal was always to get on with the K-9. He tried out probably 5 times before he got on with the K-9.
Matt Williams loved dogs. He fit right in with the Polk County Sheriff's Office K-9 unit. He was like the dog whisperer.
Sometimes I think he loved those dogs, probably more than us. I mean, he could talk to these animals. I can't get the dog to sit, and Matt could get his dog to stand up on the back of a car and spread his legs like he was being arrested. He loved law enforcement, but he loved working with those animals. He loved, they weren't animals to him, they were his friend.
I remember a plan that Matt had, training a police patrol dog from the time that it was a puppy to the time that it could be put on the street. Here was this little ball of fur, which was Diogi, and he started training that dog as that little puppy all the way through until the day that it was put on the street. What a police dog that was. Great at narcotics, great at tracking. Just a remarkable police dog.
He didn't think he was a dog, neither one of them. It's weird how the police dogs don't think they're dogs. They think they're humans. He was just a normal dog until Matt told him to work, and then when Matt told him to work, he changed into his partner.
Matt Williams and Diogi had a special bond. They were the best of friends. They would take a bullet for each other. And soon they're about to answer the most dangerous call in their career.
Suspect, show me your hands! Show me your hands or I'll let go of the dog!
The officer that gives you a ticket this morning may be the same officer that takes a bullet for you tonight. And I do believe Matt epitomized that.
Every cop knows when they report to duty that life-altering events could occur during that shift. But for Deputy Matt Williams and Diogi, it was just another day on patrol.
September 28th, 2006 was a traditional Florida day. The summer heat hadn't broken. We knew it was going to be as hot as blue blazes.
Then there's a traffic stop.
To be on Wabash, just north of 10th Street, occupied one time.
Deputy Doug Spears is patrolling this area, but there's nothing routine about this one.
Morning, sir. He gave me a name, told me he didn't have a driver's license, gave me a social security number. I went back to my car. There was no record found in the national computer for that name or social security number. At that point, I had called and asked for another unit to back me up because I felt he was giving me a false name, false information.
And that's when he ran?
Well, as soon as I got back to my car, he exited his car on the driver's side and ran westbound across the road into the woods.
Now, when he went in the woods, you gave chase to him.
Correct.
Deputy Spears loses sight of the suspect. Thick woods, thick terrain. He can't see 10 feet in front of him. And so he calls for help. Deputy Matt Williams and K-9 Diogi respond.
I had actually talked to Matt as I believe as he was responding. I told him I was coming to the call as well.
It was my birthday, and we were going to try to meet for lunch, and I wasn't able to get a hold of him. I had paged him, and he didn't answer, so my immediate boss told me she was going to go take me lunch.
And then tragedy struck.
We went through there's a little ravine, maybe about 6-7 foot deep, and we crossed that ravine, went into the woods on the other side. I was probably about 15-20 feet behind Matt, and Diogi went in, made a loop, and came back out the same path that we had gone in on.
At some point during this search with the dog, you hear gunshots.
Correct. I was down in the ravine, and I couldn't see out. It was deeper than I was. I heard Matt give out his commands, "Show me your hands."
Show me your hands or I'll let the dog go!
And at that point, I heard rapid gunfire. I came back out of the ravine and went towards the gunfire where I had witnessed Matt being shot.
You actually saw the shot that hit Matt.
Yes, sir.
Just as I pulled up to the scene, I was on a perimeter directly to the south of a wood line. One of the other deputies that were on scene told me to get down. There were shots fired, several shots fired. I got down beside my car, was holding a perimeter, started calling for Matt, started calling for Doug, from the radio, calling and asking for what we would call 77, are you 77, which are you okay?
I saw a point blank shot to his head. Well, I had opened fire on Angelo Freeland at that point, and fired off a couple rounds. He had fallen back at one point and got back up, and then he returned fire in my direction. And I could hear the bullets hitting the trees and the branches and stuff near me.
And he shot you?
Correct. I got one right below the right knee.
And so what do you do then?
But I tried to seek cover when he returned fire in my direction, and when I got behind the tree and tried to find him again, I couldn't see where he had gone off to and in which direction into the woods.
And Doug had come across the radio and said that he was shot. Said that he believed that K-9 was hit, which would have been Matt, and that he couldn't find him. And minutes kind of passed, seemed like hours.
Hundreds of cops are coming from everywhere to help catch this killer, who we later found out was named Angelo Freeland. A madman wacko with a record.
We had him confined to about a 300-acre area, and it was as thick as any jungle you can ever imagine. The question was, how were we going to get him out without another law enforcement officer being killed? Because we saw that he seemed to take a lot of pleasure in killing and shooting at law enforcement officers.
They later came to find out this guy Freeland was deeply involved in the drug world. He was a highly trained, paid assassin hired by drug lords to collect drug debts. He was among the most violent and dangerous people on our streets.
Eventually, I was on an outside perimeter, and I had just come out of the woods, and came over the radio that they had found Matt. And that's whenever I realized that it was bad.
News of the shooting travels fast in this small town. Matt's family is already getting word that a K-9 officer has been shot. Nancy Williams, Matt's wife, is having her birthday lunch at a local restaurant when a Polk County deputy approaches her.
And then he told me someone was coming to pick me up. And I was like, I don't understand. And he said, the detective on the phone said, everything's okay. Your husband's just been shot in the leg, and he's fine. We just need to take you to the hospital.
On the way over there, I'm about halfway there, I actually called his daughter, Amanda, and I was like, Amanda, what's going on? I'm like, have you heard anything? And she said, get to the hospital, Dad's been shot. And I'm like, what do you mean he's been shot? And she goes, well, he got shot in the leg is all they'll tell us. So I was like, okay. I said, well, I'm headed there. So I get off the phone, and I'm just about probably 3/4 of the way there, and I'll never forget thinking this. I'm like, you wait till I get in there, and I'm going to give him so much crap. How dare you let a guy shoot you in the leg? What is, I mean, come on, even I was trained better than that. I wouldn't lie. I was going to give him a hard time. Got to the hospital, walked in, and my older brother comes out of the back to meet me there. That's when he looks and he goes, he's gone. And I really didn't know what he meant. And I'm like, what do you mean he's gone? He goes, Matt's gone.
When I first got there, I was taken into the chaplain room with a bunch of other officers, and Sheriff Judd was there, and Mike Evans and some other deputies were there, and they told me that, they were working on him, that I couldn't see him yet. But at that point, they really didn't tell me. And then they said I needed to make arrangements to get my kids. So they called the school for me, and we're having the kids brought over. And before the kids arrived, they told me.
I recall seeing Nancy and Amanda on the ground, and it was devastating.
It's tough to see the pain and the loss that they were going through. Knowing that, you've made the pact that no matter what happened, that you'd just be there for them, and it was tough, but it was what I needed to do, because I know that if the circumstances had been different and that it had been me, that Matt would be standing there for me, with my family.
He lived as a hero. He died as a hero. And his legacy in Polk County and everyone involved, it's a legacy that will live on.
The manhunt for the killer is one of the largest and fiercest this area has ever seen. As the sun sets, Law enforcement officers believe that they are closing in on this cold-blooded killer.
If you know him and you hide him, you'll go to jail too.
He was simply the very best. And to have him ripped from us was staggering.
He and his canine partner, Diogi, were cherished members of this community. His family and the community are shocked to learn they both have been killed by a ruthless killer who is still on the loose.
We learned through our intelligence workup from his cell phone and from a diary he kept that he was violent, that he intended to go out in a blaze of glory.
We've got to move from 10th Street and Wabash.
The next morning, we lined up probably 200 SWAT team members, shoulder to shoulder, to walk that 300 acres. We knew that the underbrush was so thick that we could walk directly up on Angelo Freeland before we ever saw him. We anticipated that he would be hidden, and he was.
Contact front!
And it was just minutes after they bravely walked where others would not dare walk that I heard the gunfire erupt. And my heart sank because I thought, oh no, not another one that wears the badge so bravely. We were blessed. God looked out for us that day. It wasn't a SWAT team member that was shot and killed, but it was the murderer, the vicious, rabid murderer, Angelo Freeland. And he was shot because he asked to be shot.
Freeland is literally pointing the dead deputy's gun at the SWAT team.
And that's when they opened fire in defense of their lives, knowing his capability of shooting and killing them. He chose the way he died.
SWAT team members found the gunman this morning hiding under a fallen tree. He pulled a gun. Deputies fired. They shot him dead.
The next day, the media asked Sheriff Judd about officers firing at Freeland 110 times and hitting him 68.
And my response was simple. I guess we ran out of ammunition. We weren't taking any chances. And when he pointed that dead deputy's gun, Deputy Matt Williams' gun at that SWAT team, he got exactly what he asked for.
Deputies say, without a doubt, he was the man who murdered Deputy Matt Williams and his K-9 Diogi and injured Deputy Doug Spears.
One of the most amazing things I ever heard my mom say was she felt no hatred toward Freeland's mother, and she had nothing to do with it. But how did I feel that day when I found out that 110 rounds were fired, 68 hitting him, almost severing part of his body? I was stand up and applaud every officer that was standing out there, man enough to do their job. In my opinion, the epitome of evil was taken off the planet that day.
When Matt died, there was a part of me I felt like that died. There's a lot of pain. A lot of pain.
To have any law enforcement officer ripped from you is staggering, but when you have one with such personality and such energy and such eagerness as Deputy Sheriff Matt Williams to be a part of the community and make the community better, it's just that much more difficult. And you saw that at the funeral. There were probably 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people there, many of them from the community, many of them that he'd personally touched, many of them where he made a difference in the lives of someone's child or someone's neighbor or someone's loved one over his years of service.
Signs everywhere. Thank you, Matt and Diogi, for your service, everywhere you looked.
I was honored to be able to speak at Matt's funeral. It's now a quote, but then it was just an idea that came into my mind that a man remembered never dies. truly never dies as long as we have stories to tell. And we continue to share those memories with each other. You know, that legacy goes on forever.
This is Matt's room. This has most of everything in it that was given to us in tribute of Matt, as well as many personal items that Matt and I shared. One of my very most favorite things in this room is the picture of Matt and I when we got married on our wedding day and with our hands together with our wedding bands.
This is the first time that Nancy has allowed a camera in this sacred place. But she says that time has healed some, and she now shares it with us.
Kids are good now. I mean, they were full of anger, still are full of anger, but they all have very good, productive lives, and he did an awesome job raising them.
To this day, you still see Matt and Diogi's names memorialized everywhere, but greatest tribute and the greatest memorial is what has been done in front of the Polk County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, Matt and Diogi are remembered as the ultimate team. They died together, keeping society safe. They both have a bronze in our memorial so that people can come by and see and look into the eyes of Matt and Diogi and know forevermore that they gave up their life so that you could be safe in your home.
He's standing guard over the other officers that have given their lives, and it's just him giving service back to the community. Even in his death, he still continues to serve our community. So that's the legacy I think he's left, is a heart, a big heart.
Deputy Matt Williams and Diogi took bullets for innocent people in Polk County that day. Nobody deserves the badge of honor any more than those two. And nobody represented law enforcement any better than Deputy Williams and Diogi. People that wear this badge are mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. They're just people that lay their lives on the line every day to protect the innocent. And we want to remember them for their bravery and for their courage.